Bowie Films, the only place you're gonna find it. You guys know the deal. Hit subscribe right now, man. We go through this every time, and you motherfuckers still are not subscribing. Excuse my French, but you guys need to hit subscribe right now. Tell your mama to subscribe. Tell your grandma to subscribe. Tell your sisters to subscribe. Tell your mister to subscribe. Everybody's gonna find something they like here in Bowie Films. This, of course, is the story of Carmen Hernandez joining me live all the way from an undisclosed location. It's Carmen. How are you?
I'm good, Manny. It's still a little chilly, but everything is all well over here.
That's it. You ain't got nothing interesting going on
I
right now.
mean, I have the wine in front of me, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to take a sip. We've been through so much, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This one's for you guys, Billy Film.
I like it. Thank you for telling them to subscribe. If you fuck with Carmen, hit subscribe. If you fuck with me, hit subscribe. Nobody really fucks with my co-host joining me live, also from an undisclosed location, looking a little ashy. He looks a little bit like, if I were to describe him, he looks like the mascot for like Swisher Sweets or something. You know, he looks like he would be the mascot for Swisher Sweets. You guys know him. Michael Bowie is also here tonight.
Well, I just woke up, so sorry for that, showing that in broadcast after the beginning broadcast. But thank you, everyone, for being here. And, Manny, I'm just looking in your background. Where are you filming at? A Red Roof Inn?
I don't know what that means, Michael, but I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
what I
they
do
don't have
know.
those in Mexico. Gotcha. So, here we are. The story of episode 3.
Yes.
Carmen, how are you?
I'm good. I say I'm good, but lately a lot of stuff has been getting to me. So I'm trying to just like keep peace. And I have been really excited every week now that this has become like a ritual and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's I just like get really excited to film. So shout out to you guys.
It's funny because every guest that has been on here has always kind of like looked forward to this, as do I. However, it was just a long day for me, so I just woke up. So, not on top of all my shit today, as you can see from the earlier beginning of the broadcast. But here we are. We're ready to jump into it. Before I start, to continue with your story, what's everybody drinking on?
I am drinking on white wine. I don't know what kind it is, but it's white wine. So
And what do you have, Manny? Capri Sun?
Uh, I'll have you know, Michael, this today's video, if you don't know, today's video is sponsored by your favorite liquor of choice, Michael. Hennessy. Please don't sue us. Black people drink Hennessy. That's all I know.
Okay. Well, I'm drinking on it. You probably never heard of it, but anyone out there, Old Smoky Tennessee whiskey, cookies and cream version. Ugh. If you haven't had it, get it. So, we are drinking because we need to. We've come across so much in the last 2 episodes. Here we are, episode 3. We're continuing your story. We kind of left off at a point where you had finished elementary school, kind of moving into middle school. So, tell me what happened after that. After dealing with an early stage of mental abuse and physical abuse and emotional abuse inside of elementary school, what were your middle school days like?
Middle school to me actually was, when I think about it, like really great memories. It's just like innocence. I hadn't realized all the things that I had gone through weren't normal, so I just like kind of brushed them off, put them in a little safe in the back of my head. And I just had a really great time. I remember sixth grade was moved into elementary school here in Ypsilanti. I'm pretty sure it still is. So for me, middle school was seventh and eighth grade, and I went to Ypsi Middle. So shout out to them. But it was just a great experience. I again didn't have so many close friends, but I had a couple of people who I hung out with every day, but everyone knew each other in Ipsy. And I did join the basketball team. So school wise, it was amazing. Home wise, I felt like after that had happened is when my younger sibling was born. And I felt like really distanced from my family, especially like my mom, because she was just focused on, my little brother. And it was the first time in 12 years that I guess I had been an only child.
Okay, now when you talk about a younger sibling? Because everybody is younger than Michael. Michael old as hell. If you guys don't know, Michael's old. How much younger, and how did that affect your day to day?
So my little brother was born, I think, when I was 12 years old. I didn't believe my mom that she was pregnant because she had just met my stepdad like 3 or 4 years beforehand, and she had my little brother when she was 39. So I,
So hold on, time out. So
yeah,
then, and excuse my French here. So your mom, because in the first few episodes you talked to us about how your biological father is not in the picture and you grew up with a stepfather. But now
right,
you mentioned that your mom just met your stepfather 3, 4 years ago. How does that
right.
work?
So the person that I call my dad is my older
Hmm.
sister's father, but like I mentioned in like the previous episodes, they weren't together anymore, and he now lived in Mexico because he just went back to Mexico and lived over there until like my teenage years. But even before then, when I was 12 years old, and younger, I think. That's when she met my stepdad, and he used to take care of me when I was little, like when I was a baby. So he was a really good family friend. Also, he was a mechanic and still is. So he would work on like my mom's car, and then he would work on like a family's car. I feel like then he started to like sneak in and be like, "Hey, girl, like you kind of cute." And then he just like got with my mom. Yeah, so he was really amazing. He's a to this day, he and I have a really close relationship. But yeah, my mom had my little brother when she was 39 and I was 12. So it took me a lot of adjustment and a lot of, I guess, emotional, like, I had to see myself in another emotional level because I wasn't the only child anymore. Because since, when I was younger, my siblings were already a lot older than me. So they had moved on with their partners, they lived on their own or whatever. And I was used to, just being with my mom and my stepdad. And my little brother was born, like I said. So when he was born, I just didn't want to believe it. I always said I was going to be, the youngest child and all the attention was going to be on me. But he ruined it. And it's okay. But when he was born, I just remember feeling a little bit like neglected because their focus was just on them. And I obviously had a lot that I had gone through just then in like previous years. So I felt like I was emotionally so attached to my mom that when he was born and she gave him most of the attention, that I didn't know how to handle that.
Did it affect your sort of your trauma that you? Because for the viewers at home, go and watch the first couple episodes after we're done here tonight. But you went through so much at a young age, and you had so much trauma at a young age, and now you have a younger sibling with you. Did that trauma sort of come into play with the feelings that you were having, the mixed feelings? I don't know. You say he ruined it, and you're saying it jokingly.
Yeah.
But did you feel some type of way? Did those feelings sort of come into play? How did the trauma sort of evolve now that you have a younger sibling?
So, what I feel like it affected the most is because I had gone through so much time without my mom already since she would work all the time. She had 2 to 3 jobs all the time, and my older sisters would take care of me. And then when I was with her, I would, be emotionally unavailable because of the things that happened when I was younger. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't know what was going on or what had happened to me wasn't normal. But I was just always so attached. And then I just remember not wanting to believe that he was going to be born. I remember like my stepdad getting really angry because I would like play rough with my mom and him being like pulling me aside and telling me like, hey, you have to be careful. She's pregnant. And I was like, bro, I thought this was a joke. Like, what are you talking about? She dead ass pregnant? Like, are you kidding me right now? I was so mad. Um, but then he was born, and I just felt like I said before, I just felt like a lot of the attention went on him, and I felt like I didn't have anyone to speak to regarding what was going on, whether it be in school or whether it be just how I felt in general. I didn't really have anyone that seemed interested in what I was feeling, let alone what I was going through. So my older siblings were either having jobs or they were going through a lot of traumas themselves because they went through a lot of abusive relationships themselves. Um, so they were just in their own world, and I was just kind of left in the background, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
I think when many of us have problems that go on in our life, we always kind of revert back to our friends. I hear
Hmm.
you speak so much about your family and the things that are going on with your family, and you've had you've experienced so much with just that. So my question is, throughout elementary school, I guess even looking more so at the middle school age and stages, did you have that close friend or close friends or friend group, clique group, and did you kind of spend time with them? Did that help, or were you kind of
Um,
like a loner?
yeah, I did have friends. I had two to three best friends, and I had grown up with her, and she lived really close to me. But when I was growing up and I was around that age where I couldn't depend on anyone and I would be able to depend on my friends, I would be able to do that at school. But other than that, I wasn't allowed to go like out with them. I would never went to the mall with like my friends by myself. I never went to a movie. I think like once that I remember, I was able to go to like a movie um by myself with my friends because they were just really strict on me since in a Hispanic household as me a girl and um I guess one of the youngest daughters, you know, um I guess they were really strict on me, so it kind of took me away from things that I think I should have experienced, like going on the malls and having being able to go with my friends or stuff like that. I wasn't able to do those things, unfortunately. I just wasn't allowed. I don't know if that's weird, but I think it helped me to become a lot more safer, and I feel like it did make me want to branch out and be curious, which is why I started to rebel in future days. But I just wasn't. I felt like I was like caged. I've not like literally caged, you know what I mean? But I felt like I wasn't able to do the things that other kids were doing, and I just really felt like I was like being suffocated. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't able to go anywhere. I wasn't able to do anything. Um, but I was experiencing other people, like seeing them be able to, and I would just be like, why can't I? You know what I mean? So no one was paying attention to me, and I wasn't able to go ahead and go somewhere else where I would be able to let that emotion out.
And I know that's a frustration not to be able to go anywhere that you want to go
Yeah.
and do anything you want to do. And Manny, I know you can relate when you can't reach certain counters tops that you want to reach. It's kind of that same kind of concept. But I kind of asked that question because it's not so much, especially at that age, that you have those friends to confide in, like you do when you're a teenager and you're like, yo, bro, this is going on, and you guys kind of swap. At a younger age, it's really just something. I asked this friendship question because it's something that takes your mind off of the things that you're doing, to be able to hang out with your friends and play and have that normal kind of childhood, looking at the portion of your childhood that we've talked about now that has been kind of different. And you said that they didn't allow you to kind of hang out. Do you think that that played a role in affecting you, mentally, not to be able to go and have that kind of fun free time with friends to take your mind off of some of the other things that were going on in your life?
It felt like it did. I'm not sure. I think it just goes back to the aspect that, like, right now, since I was younger, because I wasn't allowed to do those things, it did make me a little bit more nonchalant. Like, I'm not used to big crowds. I'm not used to going to big things unless it's specifically with family. I being younger and not being able to go anywhere if like my older siblings didn't know who I was with, where I was with, who was gonna be there, like a lot of questions 24/7, and they were always like on my back about every single thing. So it affected me because I felt like anxious all the time. I never knew if I was doing something wrong, something right. If I was doing it, was I doing it good enough? It never seemed like it was good enough. And so I felt like I just wanted, in middle school specifically, wanted to show them that I was worth them trusting. But I feel like they just said and did those things because of the experiences that my older siblings had and that my mom had gone through, that they just didn't want me to go through. So it was from a good place, yes, but it was just um I guess the layout was just poor, it was poorly laid out.
We're not going to skip over the fact that you said that later on in your middle school years you started rebelling. What does that mean? What does that look like for somebody that's 4'11"?
I had so many comments, but go ahead.
She's the only person that can say short jokes to Michael. Let me have this, damn it. Go ahead.
I said, I'll keep it quiet. Go ahead.
You thought you ate.
Go ahead, continue. Tell us.
I just started hiding more things because they were a lot more stricter. So I just started like not telling them as much and telling them I was gonna go to one place with this friend and it was really with another person. And I was kind of sneaky, but like I felt like they were like on my back. I felt like they were knowing, and it caused so much anxiety because I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. You know what I
Were
mean?
you 16 and pregnant? Be honest.
No, but we had a 16 and pregnant family member, so that's why they were so strict on me. You know what I mean? Because they had through that, and they just didn't want me to.
Absolutely, and I can understand that. I gotta speak on that because when I was 18, for the viewers at home, this isn't about me, and I'm not giving y'all too much information, but I also had a sibling be born when I was a lot older. 18 years, as a matter of fact, apart. When I was 18, my youngest sibling was born. And I thought that was crazy because a lot of people in the Hispanic community, usually by 18, 19, 20 years old, they have their first kid, if not sooner. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I still haven't had a kid, and here's my mom popping them out, like like it's nobody's business. So I'm glad you're able to speak on that. But what other things were you hiding without incriminating yourself? What other things were you hiding?
I was hiding, trying to seem like I knew what I was doing, and like texting guys when I knew I shouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had like seniors, juniors from the high school texting me when I was like in eighth grade. And that's like some weirdo shit. I don't care if they're watching this. Why were they going down to the middle school to visit the middle schoolers when they were juniors and seniors in high school? Like that's kind of weird, bro. But me, not ever having that attention from anyone was like, wow, he picked me. Like I'm kind of cool now. So I would just give into it and hide it from like my older sister and hide it from my mom and just pretend that I wasn't doing anything wrong. Meanwhile, I was like texting these older guys. And I remember one time this like like he had gotten another girl my age pregnant. He like and I were texting for a while, and we met up at like my sister's house. Like I told my parents that I was gonna be sleeping at my sister's house, which I did, and my dad was there, and he was sleeping in the living room. And the guy texted me. He's like, "Yeah, like come out again." Mind you, he told me he was 16. He was, I think, 19. So what a big fat weirdo. But he told me to come out to talk to him, and I had found out through my cousins that he had like gotten a girl pregnant. So I like went out to confront him, and I was like, "Hey, homie, like what you're doing isn't okay. Like you're kind of a pedophile, and you have a child on the way. It's not okay for you to be doing this." And I was like, "A fucking like, a teenager. So you're gonna, I'm the person having to put you straight." But it was like 12 midnight, and then my dad noticed that I wasn't inside, and he came out, and so did my sister, and it was like 12. And I was just this random 19-year-old, so obviously they thought I was trying to like suck his dick or something, but I was over here trying to tell him off. So they took my phone away, and they literally like yelled at me, and I was not allowed to like have a phone for like a year after that. So
And it always seems like victim shaming is like, because you were, like you said, in your own words, you're telling us your side of the story. Um, you were telling him off, but they always had to assume the worst, especially from you. How did that sort of come into play with your trust in men, so to speak? Um, because that's got to be a fucked up feeling. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about that. Unfortunately, I'm young and handsome, but for somebody like Michael, for example, he's old and ugly, complete opposite. How did that come into play with your trust in men?
um, that's when it started to hit that. Well, obviously my biological dad and like the people around me who I noticed that weren't shit
Mm.
started to like notice, and find out for myself. But after that happened, I just really started to see that like no matter if they have a child, no matter if they have a girlfriend, no matter what they have in their lives, it's always not enough. Like there's for some reason something that they always have to like hide or lie about, and it annoyed me because I knew the girl that he had gotten pregnant, and she is gorgeous, and they're still together to this day. None of my business though, to you the day. But it just it just frustrated me. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like he told me that I was really the only one that he was talking to, and he has a baby on the way, and I have to find out through my cousins. Um so it really gave me an idea of that I was being a little too naive, but it doesn't help to this day. I feel like I'm really gullible and really naive.
So this is kind of where the rebellion kind of started. And this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. So let's get our drinks ready. We're talking about the moment of wretchedness, the high the high school days. Yes, we're here. We're here finally. Let's
Yes,
talk
sir.
about it. You know, I think that some of the stuff that you talked about, you know, I'm almost tempted to say that that's just kind of kid behavior, and that's kind of why I asked my question earlier. Earlier, like, do you think that some of those things kind of affected you, and it would have been different if you had that friend group? So you kind of started this rebellion at a younger age, and it moved into the high school years. So tell us about that. You know, were you that problem child, or was it just ratchetness? Did you get in trouble? What kind of trouble? What's the worst thing you did during your high school years, or the worst thing that happened to you during that time?
Um, Hear me out. I was such a child. I still to this day am such a good child. Like, no. But my older siblings, however, they were rebellious. So, like I mentioned before, my mom would always be working and they would have to be the ones taking care of me. So they knew the like every trick, every joke in the game, in the book, because they had done it themselves. So they were the ones that were strict on me, not my mom, not my mom, yes, to a certain point. Um, but my older sisters and my brother were very strict on me because they were the ones that had influenced me and I saw what was going on. I would have my older brother when I was in my middle school years and early high school years, and get he would get really fucked up to the point where like the cops would like bring him back to my mom's house and we were home and stuff like that. Or my sisters, both of my sisters, because I have two older sisters, like I mentioned, they would get in like physical fights with each other for like chores. And I was like, bro, like chill out. It's not that deep. But that's how they were. Or they would like over men or over clothes, like random stuff like that, to a point where they knew what they were doing and they were getting in fights at clubs. And as much as like my sister, she accomplished so much. They were still, like I mentioned, they were still going through it. So they were being rebellious, and therefore that made them be a lot stricter on me so that I wouldn't turn out the same way with children at a young age and with regrets on not doing your best in school like that. But the more that they did that to me, I felt like the more I would go numb. And so I would start to do it, but I would be sneakier with it and I wouldn't do as much. So all the things that I say that I did in high school, I've never gotten suspended any type of way, shape, or form in any school that I've went to. I've never gotten in trouble. I got in trouble for skipping, but that's the most amount of trouble. I've never gotten, called down to the office or like anything like that. So
So what was the whole ratchetness? Is that like more like sexual related things versus behavioral things of like trouble, creating trouble? Like what was the bad part, the rebellious part of being ratchet? What if you're this good kid?
the ratchetness came from being loud and being just a nuisance to the classes that I was in. I would get sent out and I would, be told to go to the office, but like I mentioned, it would just be because I would be making jokes and or I wouldn't be paying attention and I'd be laughing too hard with my friends. Like normal stuff but out of pocket. Like I would be doing too much. Like I'm too loud. You know what I mean? But just like I mentioned, to get that attention because I wouldn't get it at home. I wouldn't get it, anywhere else. But if I wore like skinny or t-shirts or things that showed my boobs or like stuff like that, or being loud or being insulted, because I remember me, like I was tiny, making fun of other people to feel like it was funny, and then I would feel like, oh, I made a joke about them, I'm really funny, and everyone would laugh because I am funny, but it's not necessary. You know what I mean? So it's unnecessarily rude to put down other people for my own enjoyment to make myself look better.
I don't know if that's
So
more so. Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if that's more so ratchet than it is really kind of just just a loud individual. I'm a loud individual. But what I'm saying is that even when you talk about more revealing clothes, you say your parents were hard on you. So did they let that fly? Like,
mm,
I would put on sweaters so they wouldn't notice. They didn't pay attention as much as,
kids these days.
they yeah.
I gotta tell you, I think what Michael really wants to know is, did you or did you not eat hot Cheetos for breakfast.
I did, and that was the whole like that's the whole vibe.
That
You
I
see what
now
I'm
you're
getting at?
ratchet. Now you're
You see
ratchet.
what I'm getting at, Michael? Michael understands. We part of that generation. I'm not as old as he
I
is.
earned that statement of being ratchet because of my breakfast for hot Cheetos and green tea.
Well, since we here's the thing, because when I'm thinking about all of this, I'm the oldest of however many siblings I
Not
have.
the
So I'm not
tallest.
getting well, Michael. Here's the thing: I am not, but I am also the best looking. Anyway,
Well,
um,
Must not be many people in
well,
the family.
okay. Anyway, debatable. So when I think about the youngest sibling doing something bad, and as an older sibling, is yes, I want to set them straight, but at the same time, it's like you can confine in. You can come to me with your troubles. You can come to me sort of for advice and how to do things a better way. Was that the same sort of relationship you guys had, or was it all just Carmen do straight, do good? What was
yeah,
it?
it was just that. It was just do good, and then it would never be good enough. And in high school, like my freshman year, that's when I really noticed that whether I get good grades, they still treated me the same. I still wouldn't be able to earn the trust enough for me to go to the movies, to go out with my friends, to have like a literal just people at my house, sleepovers, like anything like that. Um, and I understand that we're being protective, but that's when I just started noticing that whether I'm good or not, I was gonna get the same amount of attention at home, which is barely any, and they would still find something to call me out on. So I just didn't give a fuck after that. I started like lying to them even more, and my moved out of the house, so it was just me and my mom and my little brother and my stepdad, and I would just not, I guess, be around them as much. They would do their own thing, and I would just, like I said before, I would just be in the background. They would go out places. I wouldn't go with them. I would just stay home. And I just always chose to just want to stay home and draw and paint and be by myself rather than to be around them and feel like I'm not good enough.
Well, and that's one side of it, because those are all, to me, it seems. And Michael, you can weigh in on this. That seems to me as positive influences, positive role models, sort of. Even if they were strict and you felt like you were never good enough, those always seem to me like positive influences. But what about negative influences? Because you were still going to school and you switched schools a little bit. You switched quite a couple of schools. So, did you have those negative influences in your life aside from like 19, 20-year-old boys hitting on you when you're like 10?
Yeah, I definitely did. When I noticed that everyone around me was starting to skip and go smoke, that's when I remember the time that I smoked, it was with my cousin, and we were at a quinceanera, and we went, and I don't know if you remember, Manny, but there would be this quinceanera like hall where there would be like a little outhouse in the back. There would be like a little place for storage. I don't remember where it was, but I remember there was like a little outhouse in the back, and there was like a lot of grass over there. And I went over there with like my cousin and like a whole bunch of people and from other schools, and we were smoking literally out of like a pop a pop can, but it was like one of the plastic ones. So they like made holes and stuff. And I swear to God, I thought I was like floating, and it was some Reggie shit. So it was so funny. But after that, I just wanted to start being like that. Like they were the ones getting attention. They were the ones that looked good. They were the ones that were like with a whole bunch of friends and stuff like that. So I was like, do I gotta smoke weed to, feel like a bad bitch? Bet. Like I ain't no pussy. So I started smoking weed, and I started like skipping school, and I started going behind their backs. And I remember blocking the number off of like my mom's phone so she wouldn't get anything. And I changed it to my phone number so that I would get the calls when I would miss school.
From okay, yeah, I know about that trick. This is before Michael's time. Michael didn't have phones when he was in school. They had
Oh,
a
Well,
pen and quill.
I was just gonna ask, when was your quinceanera, Manny? When did you have yours?
I am a manly man. I am a what you would call alpha male.
oh
Um,
God.
so we don't have those, Michael.
I know.
We have
You just ruined my drink.
okay. Anyway, but I think this all comes with experience. And I hope I don't ruin sort of Michael's ending thoughts and comments. But to anybody at home that's watching this, any girls that feel they are not good enough or feel like they have to get attention, what advice would you tell them from somebody that's obviously experienced in that field?
Um, what would I tell them? I would literally tell them to do them. Like, don't even, like, why are you worried about how people feel about you if what people feel about you does affect you? That's it. If I could, like, go back to, like, my younger self, I would literally tell her to just do her own thing and to stop showing out and to just do the best she can do at school, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. I know it sounds like corny and I hate sounding like an old ass lady, but like, do good in school, but it like will help you out. Like, why are you worried about whatever everyone else is saying? So I feel like that's really good advice.
Okay. Now, aside from all the sort of pedophiles coming after you, there's no better way of putting it. Did you have any other traumatic experiences you would feel comfortable sharing with us here tonight? Any traumatic experience? I mean, you've already been through so much by the age of 12, but now this middle school, high school phase, you went through a lot too. But anything that really stands out to you as like this was another one of those traumas that really stuck with me?
Not in high school at all or middle school. I feel like the most important thing that I went through that I felt like could have affected me a lot better would be just to not feel like I was just drowning in the background while everyone else was being either like taken care of or acknowledged. I felt like a lot of times I just didn't get the attention that I needed, and my anxiety was getting to me. So I felt like since I was in middle school and starting high school and freshman year, that's when I noticed that I had really bad anxiety. So it would be really hard for me to just communicate anything that I was feeling or going through regarding school, regarding relationships, regarding like home life with anyone. So I felt like I was always being judged and belittled for having emotions at all, because it was either not important enough or invalidated.
Well,
Is
there it
that
is.
mentally? Well, okay.
No,
Go ahead, Mike.
no. Did you have a final thought? Because I was gonna
No,
close
I
it
was
out.
just gonna say, how is that mentally? Because although it may not seem like a whole trauma, it can still be mentally exhausting, can it not?
It can. I actually still am healing my inner child as well as like my inner teenager, and telling myself that although what I am feeling right now, like, yeah, it might not be for a big enough reason, but it's still a big enough reason for me to be feeling that. And it's okay to be feeling those things. It's okay to go through them. It's okay to be sad or to be emotional for any little thing, because at the end of the day, I have a lot of like mental illnesses like BPD, anxiety, PTSD, depression, like all of these things that make me react a certain way that other people wouldn't. And that's okay. And so a lot of people don't think that, mental illnesses affect, they just think, oh, they're just going to lie down and they're going to be sad for a while. Like, no, I will literally like throw hands for the littlest thing. I used to, but I've learned to like control myself. I've learned to validate my own emotions and not look for someone to tell me that it's okay to feel that way. And I've learned to just be okay with myself and who I am and why I feel that way, and find reasons. Hey, why do you feel that way? Oh, because I went through this growing up, and I'm going to work on it this way, and just writing down how I feel. And it does very much help a lot.
And there it is. I think we've learned a lot. We all had this drink because we were preparing for the ratchetness of your story, but it was toned down. It was like, no, I'm a good kid. It wasn't that. I mean, I was ratchet. I was loud. I'm like, oh man, we all wanted it, but we still.
God, I wasn't popping my pussy like everyone else, but I was.
Oh my god.
Jeez,
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We just hit 1 million views off of that comment. It is what it is. But we have to close out. We have to get ready to go. I don't know what time checkout is at the Red Roof Inn, but Manny's gonna have to pack up his shit to get out of the Red Roof Inn on time. So we don't want to hold him or anybody else up. I want to thank Seth Fisher. He became a subscriber here. I don't know if he's currently watching. Thanks to anybody, but since we're talking about subscribers, I just want to make sure, please take this time. We know people are watching now. They may watch later. Hit that subscribe button. Yes, we are upcoming. This show is in its 8th season. We're going to try and change things around. I was sleepy, drinking. We have technical issues, but we're putting so much money into the channel, into the show, because this is something that people look for. They watch every single week. Not just the people that are watching have a really good passion, but the people that are participating. Me as a host, Manny as a host, Carmen as a guest here on the show to tell her story. So Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel right now so that you can stay in tune with all the other shows that we have, especially this show each and every season. Season 10 is going to be something special. We're going to roll out new things for the story of. This has been a pleasure, and we are moving into the climax of the story. Episode 4 next week, Friday at 10 o'clock here on Bowie Films. So stay tuned and join us there. Carmen, thank you so much for being here. Manny.
My pleasure.
Nope, I didn't really say anything. I was trying to think of my words, but I had none. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.